Violence erupts days before the Ugandan elections. Scientists target mosquitoes to combat the Zika virus. And the hottest looks from the Grammys' red carpet. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. As Thursday's Ugandan presidential election draws closer and the candidates make their final campaign pitches, the situation on the streets of the capital is becoming more tense. At least one person was killed and several wounded on Monday in clashes between police and supporters of opposition leader Kizza Besigye in Kampala. It's the worst outbreak of violence to hit the capital city during the campaign season. Voters will decide on Thursday whether to give President Yoweri Museveni a fifth term or elect an opposition candidate and have a new leader for the first time since 1986. Now, for more on the Ugandan election, the host of VOA's Straight Talk Africa show, Shaka Sali, joins me on the phone from Kampala. Shaka, you're on the ground. You've been there for some days. What's your read on the mood in Kampala?
Well, first of all, Vincent, a lot of people are very, very anxiously, of course, waiting to cast their vote come Thursday. You have two groups, of course. You have the group that supports the incumbent President Yoweri Museveni, who think that he is very likely to get another 5-year term. But you also have another group, and it seems to be, in fact, gaining momentum, a group that supports change, and that is the group that supports the long-time opposition leader, Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, retired, and of course, as you know, not tired.
Exactly. Now, Shaka, it looks like these elections will be mostly determined by the youth of Uganda, or at least people who are 35 and less. What are some of the issues that are important to them?
You are talking about unemployment, Vincent. The percentage of unemployment among the young people in Uganda is anywhere between 70 and 80%. You're talking about education that is really does not meet reasonable standards, and so people are talking about needing a new government that can bring about policies that support quality education, provide youth employment, that kind of stuff, Vincent. And it seems to me that the majority of the people, of course, who will be casting their votes will probably be under 35. And if they, in fact, come out in droves, they could very well vote for change.
Now, we know that the opposition leaders have said they don't expect free and fair elections. Do the general population feel that they have confidence in the system to have it deliver a fair and free election?
To be very honest with you, a lot of people that I have been able to interact with have been saying that they do not have confidence in the Electoral Commission. They said that even though it is called by name an independent Electoral Commission, it is a commission, in their view, that plays a partisan role. They, in fact, look at it as an extension of incumbent President Yoweri Museveni.
In a few seconds, what is the state of security on the ground?
Well, there are so many police officers around downtown Kampala, and of course elements from the military and that kind of stuff. And of course you have another group of people who are called crime preventers. These are people who are working under the auspices of the Uganda police. In fact, people have gone to the extent, by the way, of saying that, no, this is not really Uganda police. This, in fact, is, a national resistance movement police.
Wow. Indeed, a lot of, security on the ground. Thanks a lot, Shaka. That's VOA's Shaka Sali reporting live from Kampala in Uganda. Now, a team of recent graduates from Uganda's Makerere University has created a mobile application designed to help monitor elections and expose possible rigging. The developers say the app, called ePoll, will make Uganda's democratic process more fair. Sudinho Rusblad reports from Kampala.
It's hard not to notice that the elections are around the corner in Uganda. On February 18, 15 million registered voters will elect a new president, parliament and local officials. In the past, elections have often been marred by accusations of poll rigging. But with a new mobile application, a group of former computer science students hope to make the elections more transparent.
When we started this company, we were thinking every time now we can change this country, to create change in technology in the country. So we had a lot of other ideas. When we thought of what could work in the next election, Equal Agent came on point.
The app is meant for representatives of political parties who act as observers at polling stations. With it, they can upload data in real time, such as the voter turnout and the total number of votes cast. If this differs from the number later announced by the Electoral Commission, candidates can have the potential proof that the votes of this particular station have been tampered with. In order to verify that the data sent to the e-poll service is genuine, the observers will record a voice message from the head of the polling station.
If you are like BSJ, like agent for BSJ, just log in, then you send the data. Then you submit, report, final results with image and voice. You can take like a photo, then you send.
Before the Electoral Commission can announce the number of votes cast, local and regional election officials must first certify the results. The developers say this delayed process is not transparent enough and is prone to rigging. They say their app and the new workflow for the election observers will solve that problem.
Before they reach Electoral Commission, they've gone through a lot of stages, and nobody knows what happens in the middle of those stages. So what this app does is directly from the polling station to the tally center. Full stop.
This year will also be the first year a biometric voting system will be used for the elections. The system uses human body characteristics to confirm a person's identity. It's hoped that it will increase the credibility of the process and help prevent disappointed parties from turning to violence on claims their votes have been stolen. Serginho Roosblad for VOA News, Kampala.
Well, the refugee crisis is taking a heavy toll on the Greek island of Lesbos. Aid workers say they are struggling to bury the rising number of bodies of refugees pulled from the sea in recent months. They say the graveyards are all full, yet as tens of thousands of people clamor to get out of Syria, it is clear refugees will still be coming in record numbers. Hamada El-Rosram tells us more.
More than 1 million refugees have made their way to Europe successfully during the past year. More than 4,000 have died or remain missing at sea. On the Greek island of Lesbos, the first stop in Europe for many fleeing the Middle East and Africa, there is no longer room to bury the bodies. The local coroner says, with so many people reported missing, it's hard to identify the dead.
In
the big accident on October 28, 2015, whole families vanished along with their children. So you can see many people have not been identified.
The highest death rates are among children. Many other graves are marked unknown or anonymous. Every village on the island has its own cemetery, but the spaces are limited, even for local residents. The bodies of refugees have to wait.
The space was already full, and an accident happened on October 22nd, then another on October 15th, leaving roughly 75 bodies in the morgue. There are men and women, but the majority are children. Nobody cares. No humanitarian organizations or Islamic organizations. The bodies were on hold in the morgue for 30 days.
ضلوا الناس في البراد 30 يوم لحد أول يوم بدأنا ندفن كان بقى لهم 31 يوم.
Many refugees say if they had to choose to cross the sea again in the middle of the winter, they would not.
I am advising all the Syrian refugees who are coming to Europe these days not to come. The sea is high and it is winter. We came yesterday and the smugglers promised to put 40 people on the rubber boat, but they put 70. The waves were a meter high, tossing the boat, and one woman died.
Despite the warnings, more than 75,000 people have traveled to Europe by sea this year, and many more are expected to follow. For VOA News, Hamada El-Rassam, Lesbos, Greece.
Well, February is Black History Month and an annual observance in the United States for celebrating and remembering the achievements of African Americans. Black History Month is also important to the African diaspora. In Washington, D.C., African immigrants will be participating in a number of events organized by the D.C. Mayor's Office to mark Black History Month. To tell us more about it, I'm joined by Mamadou Samba, Director, Office on African Affairs at the Washington, D.C. Mayor's Office. Mr. Samba, welcome to Africa 54.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is, as we mentioned, a really important time also for the African immigrants who live in this area. So what are some of, let's start with the next event that you've planned this week that is meant to observe Black History Month?
Sure. So actually on February 17th, which is actually tomorrow, is when we plan to commemorate Black History Month. And our aim is to use this opportunity as immigrants to appreciate the sacrifices and the achievement of African Americans that have led to opportunities for immigrants to come in, live here, have the opportunities that we have. And so this commemoration will be the very first for this administration, where we will really explore this conversation, this idea of the historic ties between African and African Americans. There's a lot of discussion about the two communities, but we want to use Black History Month to talk about what they've done to allow us the opportunities to come and live and thrive in the United States.
Yeah, and there's a common history way back before. But the question is, some may want to know, really, how many people are we talking about in this area? Do you have any figures or at least an idea of how many African immigrants live in the region?
We estimate there's between 16,000 to 18,000 African immigrants. The real numbers is hard to quantify because the lack of data, the lack of research, and if you include those who are undocumented and those who do not want to be counted, you don't have the real numbers. But based on the American Community Survey, the census, we estimate there's about 16 to 18,000. And this metropolitan area, which is D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, we have the second largest number of African immigrants, and we number about 162,000, right after New York, which has the largest number at 212,000.
What else do you really seek to achieve through this office,
Sure.
other than like commemorating a day like this? Some may want to know, what is the purpose of your office?
Well, the purpose of our office is to, we serve as a liaison between the district government and the African community, the growing African community. And we try to ensure that all of the services that the government provides, whether it is education, health, jobs, we try to ensure that all of those information and resources is accessible to our community so that they can take full advantage of it. We understand that when immigrants migrate to the United States, they face a number of challenges, including language barriers, cultural barriers, the lack of understanding of the very complex U.S. system. So our role is to be there to provide capacity building program, technical assistance, so they can fully thrive and take advantage of those resources.
And is the thriving of the African immigrants parallel to the thriving of the other members of the community, or do you also try to help them integrate and become part of the fabric of the
Sure.
city?
I mean, eventually our job is to serve all district residents, but we work particularly with the African community. But they're all connected because, as I said many times, unemployment in the African community is also unemployment in other communities. Within the African community itself, unemployment is not just a problem in the Ethiopian community. It's a problem in all immigrant communities. Public safety is also a problem in all immigrant communities. So this is why we've taken the initiative of launching an African community public safety task force, and also working with the Metropolitan Police Department to ensure that they create an African liaison unit to work directly with our community to address fear of law enforcement, lack of understanding, and the lack of communication.
Very quickly, there will be a screening of a movie, right?
Yes, we will screen a movie that we produced this year. And what we've done is we selected about 6 African immigrants who live in in D.C., and we've allowed them to tell their personal stories because we want to make sure, as Africans, we tell our own stories. Yeah. So the screening will highlight the personal accounts of the 6 immigrants to showcase their contribution to the District of Columbia.
We look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, Mamadou Samba is the Director of the Office on African Affairs at the Washington, D.C. Mayor's Office. Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince Makori. Well, coming up, combating the Zika virus through mosquito control. Stay with us.
This is Green Beat for a healthier planet.
Wild Styrian horses once numbered in the thousands on the small Greek island of Skiros. But these small, sturdy horses are now under threat of extinction, with about 280 pure Styrians left. Make that 281. Amanda Simpson-Katsarilias of the Skiros Island Horse Trust just welcomed a new foal into the world.
She has the right height, the right conformation, the right colouring. Alongside of that, you're also looking for a pony that could survive on the mountain.
Katsarilias, along with her partner, co-founded the Skiros Island Horse Trust to try to preserve the breed, and they now have 48 of the horses in their care. Styrians differ from other Greek horses as they are especially small, measuring not more than 116 centimeters tall. The horse's presence on the island is said to date back to the Trojan War, but habitat loss and interbreeding with domestic horses caused the numbers to drop dramatically. Rebecca Ward for VOA's Green Beat.
Well, it's time for a health report, and joining us now is Africa 54 health correspondent Lino Madu with more news on the Zika virus. Hello, Lino.
Hello, Vincent. The World Health Organization says countries battling the Zika virus should consider new ways to curb disease-carrying mosquitoes. This includes testing the release of genetically modified insects and bacteria that stop their eggs from hatching. The WHO also highlights the potential of releasing sterile irradiated male mosquitoes, a technique that has been developed at the UN International Atomic Energy Agency. Zika, which is now sweeping the Americas, is transmitted primarily by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Many scientists believe Zika could be linked to microcephaly or abnormally small heads in newborns and a serious neurological disorder in adults called Guillain-Barré syndrome. The Zika outbreak is the latest headline-grabbing epidemic carried by mosquitoes, but researchers are fighting back with new ways to control them. VOA's Steve Baragona takes a look.
Aedes aegypti, the yellow fever mosquito, has a lot to atone for, says entomologist Grayson Brown, reached by Skype.
Yellow fever, dengue, chikungunya, now Zika virus. These are viruses all transmitted by a single species of mosquito.
The mosquitoes can breed in tiny pools of water. Tropical cities have lots of those. Spraying insecticides and draining breeding sites helps, but often it's not enough. So researchers are trying some new ideas. Natural bacteria called Wolbachia are being used by one group to infect mosquitoes. The bacteria do not kill them, but they make their bites less dangerous, according to geneticist Michael Torelli, speaking by Skype.
If you feed those mosquitoes on the blood of hospital patients that have dengue, that they do not transmit dengue.
When a mosquito bites an infected person, the dengue virus enters the insect's gut, copies itself, and makes its way to the salivary glands, where it's ready to spread with the next bite. It's not clear how, but Wolbachia slows or stops the spread of dengue to the salivary glands. And Torelli says it seems to work for Zika virus, too.
Zika transmission is effectively completely blocked by Wolbachia.
Another approach dives deeper into the Aedes aegypti mosquito. A company called Oxitec has inserted a self-destruct gene into the insect's DNA. When the gene is switched on, it drives the cell to make lots of one protein. Other, more important proteins don't get made, and the mosquito dies before it matures. Officials in Brazil are exploring both Wolbachia and the engineered mosquitoes. Even if they work, neither will solve the problem on its own, says Grayson Brown.
We're not going to have a silver bullet, but we'll have more bullets. But the point is that they all have to be loaded into the gun of overall comprehensive integrated vector management program.
Programs that officials hope will control the mosquitoes that cause so much suffering around the world. Steve Baragona, VOA News, Washington.
And that's our Africa Health Report for today. Vincent?
Well, thanks a lot, Lino. Be sure to watch Lino Madu's health updates every Tuesday and Thursday right here on Africa 54. Well, after a successful launch of the Kira Eve and Kira Eve Smart Engineers at Ugandan Skira Motors Corporation have done it again. They've recently unveiled the first solar-powered bus, a 35-seater dubbed Kayola. VOA's Paul Diho recently visited Kira Motors in Kampala and has our report.
For those who thought that it's impossible to manufacture anything in Africa, think again. Kira Motors, a corporation, earlier this month unveiled its 35-seater Kayola bus. The Ugandan car manufacturer is slated to start commercial production of the Kira brand vehicles and Kayola passenger buses by 2018. The cost of the bus is estimated at about $58,000 and is expected to create more than 7,000 jobs. This is just another example built by incredibly talented young Ugandans. It's designed here and built here in the Ugandan capital, Kampala. The bus, codenamed the Kayola, with its striking design, is one passenger service vehicle that commands attention. It has a range of 80 kilometers when fully charged, and it also has solar panels on its roof, which give it a daily range extension of 12 kilometers. Last year, Kira Motors, a corporation, gave the Voice of America an exclusive behind-the-scenes access. So let's take you inside. Dr. Sandy Stevens Tagboa is the State Minister for Higher Education and Technology.
We build this to address the public transportation problems. You have been in town, you have seen all those 14-seater things jamming all the place. But we said, whatever we're doing should contribute towards addressing the major problem of unemployment, which I think is very, very huge in this country.
It drives and feels like any regular passenger bus on the market. For those who had any doubts, it's time to let everyone know that Kayola bus has arrived.
Today is the Kayola Solar Bus, the first of its kind, designed and built in Africa by Kira Motors Corporation, an automotive startup which started at Makori University, and today it's a government program for industrialization.
Paul Isaac Musasizi, the Chief Executive Officer of Kira Motors, says that the Kayola bus has an impressive power and was designed to thrill and intended for urban areas rather than inner city use because of the restrictions on how far it can travel.
The uniqueness of this bus we see behind here today is that it has a powertrain architecture which provides for two power banks. One is the primary power bank and the other is the secondary power bank. This condition is transient. At any one time, the primary power bank is responsible for delivering energy for propelling the vehicle, and the secondary power bank is available for charging from solar.
This bus was recently taken on a test drive, debuted at a public exhibition in Kampala. As for my review, Kayola presents itself well. What distinguishes the bus's exterior design from most buses on the market are the details, leather interior and smooth transition from glass to sheet metal that makes it look sleek. Doreen Orishaba is one of the company engineers.
Really,
looking forward to launching these products?
Definitely. It's really exciting, and it's interesting when you're out there, everyone is asking you all sorts of questions, and it's very encouraging to know that Uganda is actually waiting for this, and we are here to do this. We are here to have these cars out as soon as humanly possible.
Kampala, like many African capital cities, has a fast-growing population and a rapid urban development that has meant more cars on the road. So it's beneficial to have locally manufactured passenger buses that could ease roads jammed with traffic. Paul Diho, VOA News.
Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. The highlights and lowlights from the Grammys red carpet. We'll be right back.
If we walk, we will have a massive increase in volume out of those fields. We're looking at about 150,000 to 200,000 barrels from the current 40 to 50,000 barrels.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. From classic to wild, the stars on the Grammy red carpet had a look for just about everyone. This year, many performers chose looks like that were more used to seeing at the Oscars. Performers like Zendaya and Justin Bieber went for traditional taxes with a twist. Adele showed off her signature all-black conservative look. Many of the women chose mile-high skirt slits and rich fabrics. Oh, and in case you're wondering about the identity of that adorable little dude with Justin Bieber, well, he's the singer's look-alike little brother, Jackson. Well, next up, too soon? Not if you're a Star Wars fan. Just as the furor over The Force Awakens is dying down, Disney has released a teaser trailer for Star Wars 8. The new chapter in the adventure series has begun filming with two new additions to the cast, Oscar winner Benicio del Toro and Academy Award nominee Laura Dern. The teaser shows shooting picking up right where The Force Awakens left off. Star Wars 8 is set for release in December 2017. Well, and finally, concern over the Zika virus created a new candle trend in Brazil. The country has seen a surge in demand for citronella candles as a natural repellent against mosquitoes carrying the virus. The Ad Candle factory in the interior of Sao Paulo says demand for citronella product has risen by 25% since the start of the epidemic. The rise in demand was sharpest in the northeast region at the center of the outbreak, where sales rose fourfold, and in Brazil's second city of Rio de Janeiro, where they tripled. And that is what is trending today. Well, that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night.
Many fruits and vegetables grow on vines. But are Anna and Jonathan really talking about agriculture?
To die on the vine.
So Anna, did your friend start her online business yet?
No, she's too busy with her day job. And she doesn't have any startup money.
That's too bad. Her idea sounded really great.
Yeah, but she didn't invest time or money. So her great idea just died on the vine.
Fruits and vegetables die on vines if they don't get enough water or sunshine, or if you don't pick them. In American English, the same can be said for other things, such as ideas, dreams, plans, even love. If you don't give these things the attention and resources they need, they may die on the vine. And that's English in a minute.